How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Ade, and another edition of BoxTalk. Today, we're looking at promotion for fights. Has it gone too far, or is it going well? Can you cross the line, or is the line never to be crossed? Promoters, managers, trainers, fighters. What do you think, Ade?
It's boxing. They're there to get beaten up. Can you go too far? As in, can someone like Mayoga go too far and say, I'm gonna, kiss your sister, rape your mom, do all the stuff Mayoga talks about? They didn't say rape your mom, but all the stuff he talks about. I think you can go too far. I actually think that it gets to a point where it becomes a bit okay, you're trying to sell a fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If a fight's that good, if a fight is that good, do you need to sell it as much as they are trying to sell it?
I think that, the pushing at press conferences has always been a little fun. Everyone gets a little excited for that. Yeah. But then we have gone to other stages where there's been fights at press conferences for that fight. Plexiglass in the middle.
Yes.
Fights in TV studios and everything.
Silly.
It's too. It's
bar between Hayes and Zora.
The Hayes and Zora.
Bar.
Yeah.
A bar between them.
Okay, you've got two people that's going to fight. I mean, even if they're friends, you have to build up some animosity to get into the ring and fight someone to put them down. They're going to take food out of your mouth. They're trying to hurt you. You want to hurt them. So you've got that animosity. But it's also part about being an athlete and being a professional.
And you see it. That's the funny thing. You do see it. I mean, we saw two warriors last month, 2 months ago fight in terms of Carl Froch and Kessler. Two warriors absolutely want to go and rip each other's head off. Not one bad word said between them.
Yeah.
But the fight sold. I mean, pay-per-view numbers ain't been released, but for all intents and purposes, for a British pay-per-view, it was supposed to be done really good. The fight sold out in 2 hours?
Okay, that's a good example of two nice guys doing their thing. But then you look at someone like Mayweather, who's got the beauty of boxing.
Yeah.
But then his attitude, it rubs some the right way, rubs some the wrong way.
Yeah, but it's not real. We know Mayweather, it's not real. You can see how humble Mayweather is at the end of fights. He's humble to his opponent. He's very nice to his opponent. I think Mayweather, as soon as he changed that name from Pretty Boy to Money, he just knows how to sell a fight.
It's a promotional plan.
It's a promotional plan, exactly. He knows how to sell a fight now. You looked at the figures before Mayweather changed his name from Pretty Boy to he did nothing pay-per-view. Boulder made on 350,000 buys people for Boulder. You don't believe me? Go and check it out. Yeah. Oscar De La Hoya, he then went boom, and then he stayed at that level now. Before De La Hoya, he could sell nothing.
Talking about pay-per-view, look at Mike Tyson's pay-per-views. He was doing a lot of self-promotion, be it good, be it bad. I mean, Tyson was in the paper or article any other day for car crash, drinking, fighting in clubs, road rage, all sorts of stories under the sun. But his pay-per-views were the biggest drawing books in history.
In history. And the thing with Tyson is that there's something about the public. Public are not idiots. We're not fools. When we see someone, I think we genuinely believe if it's that person or it's not. With Tyson, Ryan just called it self-promotion. It was real promotion. He didn't even know he was promoting. That's just the way he lived his life. He had that kind of mean streak to him. The fights were real. The road incident was real. The beating up the wife it was all real. When you see someone can you imagine Tyson walking into the ring with his flashy pads, Adrian Broner was, and a Madonna headset and a rapper by his side? Get rid of that rubbish.
Okay, Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner pulling man analogy. Good example. Two good fighters, both doing their thing, world champions. But the promotion, did it go too far with the calling the ex-girlfriend, all the bits and bobs?
It's just silly.
It's just fight was over. Don't be talking about my side piece and all that stuff. Is it that
almost? I'm not joking. It just reminded me of
the hype was better than the fight.
Yeah, definitely the fight was shit. But it almost reminded me of society today. That fight it almost made me feel like that's society today in terms of little kids getting excited. Yeah. Just fight. You're there to fight. Forget all that. The fact you have to hype and promote a fight says a lot about the fight as far as I'm concerned.
Let's go back 10, 20, 30, 40 years to the modern art of the first person that we all knew about hype and talk, Muhammad Ali. Did he go too far? I mean, he had a lot of racial tones involved. Yeah, it was at a very difficult time politically for the whole world, for the whole country. I mean,
but Muhammad Ali, I think people got to realise with Muhammad Ali was
tongue in cheek. Was it serious?
It definitely wasn't tongue in cheek, and I think it was. Yeah, well, actually, I'll take that back. There was a bit of tongue in cheek. There was a bit. He had a bit of everything, Muhammad Ali. But the times were different then. Muhammad Ali, obviously, he turned from Christian to Muslim. So those racial terms that he was using, and his uncle Tom talk that he was doing, especially with Joe Fraser, I think that was him. That was just him. That was the way he did it. You saw all his interviews, it was exactly the same. He never changed his word in the interview. That was just Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people have tried to copy that, especially now in the 21st century, and it's just not working.
Okay, the contrast between, say, Ali and Fred Mayweather. Ali, he said that was Ali at the time. But if you look at an interview with Ali, always very humble, very sort of, even his jokes about himself were kind of done with a smile and he's laughing and playful, like it's two different personalities. Same thing like Mayweather, where we see him promoting a fight, he's one certain way. When you can't see him in the other times, or the times we saw like at Peacock, very, very quiet, very, very. Is it that contrast of just literally the light comes on, sell, 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 sell?
I think with Muhammad Ali, it's almost slightly different. I think there was no blueprint before Muhammad Ali. I mean, Mayweather always talks about there's no blueprint to victory. Before this self-talking, there was no blueprint. So when Muhammad Ali done it, everyone was like, oh my God, this is amazing, because they've never seen it before. When these guys do it now, you almost feel like you're almost copying the blueprint. You're almost copying what someone did because you know it worked. And you're almost copying it. And that's why it doesn't feel natural for me. With Muhammad Ali, obviously we weren't around in that era, but when you watch back on the videos, it almost seems so natural.
Yeah.
Whether it was real or not real or fake or whatever, it just seemed natural the way it was done because we'd never seen it before.
So think about it. So take it away from the fighter and look at it from the promoter.
Yeah.
Are promoters setting these scenarios up? Are they hoping to sell fights and to push fights? I mean, they always try to say don't fight and try to get involved, but they always seem to be that far away.
Of course they're trying to
knowing that guess what? Well, the fighter's going to get fined. We're not going to get fined. This is going to happen. It's going to draw more attention, more hype. It's going to get more hits on Twitter, more links on Facebook and YouTube.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, but
they know what they're doing. I mean, you look at it. You don't have episodes like 24/7 and All Access. Those things are edited to the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not watching a live broadcast here of Mayweather talking.
Yeah.
They've got Mayweather seem to be swearing every 5 seconds. They got everyone that against him is this humble, poor person, and you've got Mayweather flashing the money. That's not happening in live time. They know what they're doing. They're editing it to make it look like a baddie versus goodie. This versus that.
I'm definitely gonna pick HBO 24/7. It's a commercial. It's not even reality TV.
You know the problem is,
if you're doing it for natural.
I've gone off it and I haven't gone off it. The reason I haven't gone off it is because it's probably one of the best concepts in terms of new boxing, the new breed, in terms of getting new people to watch boxing. You've got to respect that. I think the reason I have gone off it is because it's for the same 3 fighters. If Cotter's fighting, it's for him. If Pacquiao's fighting, it's for him. If Mayweather's fighting, it's for him. There's no really other new fighters that 24/7 can sell. I think that's the problem. How many times can you sell a Mayweather story? How many times can you show him going to a club and throwing money? How many times can you watch his steroid 7-foot bouncers move his car? It does get a bit boring.
Yeah.
But regardless, Mayweather still sells the fight.
No, they also the fight. I think overall, the sport is progressing. It's moving very, very fast. I mean, anyone who's on Twitter could tell you how much tweets you get from majority of fighters daily, putting out random things. They're selling themselves, they're promoting themselves. And it's translating to ticket sales. But there's ticket sales on TV. Is it hitting the arenas?
No. We know that. You know Golden Boy give away so many comps for free to try and fill stadiums. And you say the sport's progressing. I think for the first time I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think the sport's regressing. I really do think the sport's gone back a bit. We're getting the fights, but because of these wars between Showtime and Golden Boy and HBO and Top Rank, the whole idea of it, and that's another topic we'll get into. Because of those, we're not getting the real fights we want to see. We lost out on the Pacquiao and Mayweather. It doesn't look like we didn't get the Abner Mars. Obviously, he's now been knocked out against Daniel. Everyone wants to see now he lost. We kind of lost that big fight. There's a lot of big fights we're losing out because people are not trying to put their best fighters in against each other. So we're losing out. That's why I think the sport's regressing. But in terms of the promotion side, all the All Access and the 24/7s, we're getting to know a bit more about the boxers than we did before. But you kind of feel like it's almost fake personalities. I don't think we're seeing the real. I mean, Mayorga is a good example. Yeah. Mayorga's probably the best hype person in any sport in history. But as soon as he finishes a fight, he cuddles his opponent. He says, "Sorry, just to promote the fight." Yeah. And as a fan, it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel like, wait a minute. So all that stuff you said about Kennedy's mum wasn't real. All that stuff I said about you midget, I hate you, I'm gonna swallow you, wasn't real. It was all fake. Yeah. Why do it?
I think selling the fight is one thing, promoting is one thing, but there are lines to be crossed. I mean, like, Conor McGregor can't speak English, and and he crossed the line numerous times. Stuff he said about the late Corey Spinks' mum was really disrespectful, and you know.
What?
I mean, I won't repeat hard things he have said. You all know what he said, and even some things Mary have said in recent times, things Brown said in recent times, even things Andre Ward said. Andre Ward is actually quite a nice guy, but something I just can't agree with the self-promotion, self-selling. It's like you're belittling everyone else around you to promote yourself.
It just seems like from the days of like Larry Holmes jumping over a car to get to Trevor Burbick, or Riddick Bowe smashing down. Or I don't know if you guys remember Hassim Rahman and Lennox Lewis tumbling.
Yeah.
It was real.
Yeah.
You know these guys. You know even when Tyson came to Lewis, it was a bit safe, but it was real. You kind of felt it. These other guys now, you just don't believe it. It's almost fake. All that promotion stuff is absolute god. All these boxers seem to have each other's numbers, and they talk to each other at the end of the fight and after the fight and tweet each other. Social media's messed it up a bit.
Did you ever see Larry Holmes versus Larry Donald versus Riddick Bowe, and Riddick Bowe punched Larry Donald with a
bang down
left hook? Donald talking kind of was up.
Kind of talking like, okay,
yeah.
What's that? What was that? Even when Riddick Bowe came out the ring and Lennox Lewis had the headset on, and you thought at any stage one of them's gonna blow. At any stage, that was promotion.
That was promotion. That was a real fight.
That was real.
You felt that. You understood that.
And you know it was a real fight because them guys didn't even fight.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fake promotion because it's not like a promoter said, okay, you've got to go out to him at the end of the fight. These guys never fought. That kind of stuff was amazing.
Take it away. Before YouTube, social media, internet, and so on, it was just national TV. They had one opportunity to make their mark on certain shows when shows were on. Now you've got so many platforms. Yeah. Are those opportunities squandered with oversaturated?
Of course it is. I mean, you look at Mayweather's 12 city tour for the Alvarez fight. How many times do we need to see a face-off? Yeah. How many times do we need Oscar De La Hoya to say, "Sal Alvarez, you're the best fighter of all time"? How many times do we need Mayweather to say, "I hate you, Oscar De La Hoya," but then you see him behind the scenes taking photos of him? Yeah. It gets a bit silly.
Realistically, how many of those multi-city tours did you watch?
The first one.
Yeah.
I only watched the first one. Honestly, that was it. And I think I might have got a glimpse of the Mexican one just to see if they might kidnap Mayweather.
I want to see the crowd.
I want to see the crowd reaction, but Mayweather got quite a good reaction, to be fair to him. Yeah. But it almost gets to a point where it can be oversaturated.
I reckon
it's got to that point in boxing for me.
Well, okay, you can't limit people's personal opinion and their views, but I think, I wouldn't say a code of conduct, but I think, like I said, there are limits, there are lines, and as promoters, as fighters, I think these people should carry themselves with a little bit more class to bring themselves to the next audience. If you want to cross over, be a crossover star. If you want to make crossover money, if you want to be hitting other shows besides your only boxing show, you need to know that, guess what? This guy's going to be reliable, he's going to be polite, he's going to be respectful. You can always cross down and say certain things, but you're not going to make that thing and make that marquee jump.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm going to disagree again. And the reason I'm going to disagree again is because of one person, that's Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, in his interview, swore. You've heard him many times say, "Fuck off." Mike Tyson went to jail for raping someone. Mike Tyson allegedly raping someone. Mike Tyson was the biggest, even forget Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson was the biggest boxing star there is, and there probably ever will be. And that's just fact. I think it's only bad, as Ryan said. Ryan made a good point. I think it's only bad if it's not real. If it's fake and you're putting it on, then it's not going to work. If that's just your personality and you can't hide it, I think the general public are going to see, like they did with Tyson, that man might have a bit screw loose, let him be.
See, the difference with Tyson made a crossover appeal after he left boxing, after he's been through a lot of help and a lot of reflecting in his life and his career. But you could have put, back in the 90s, you could put Tyson on TV. Go look at Tyson's top 10 moments on YouTube, and look what Tyson says to certain reporters.
As I said, they had him on TV. But they had him on TV.
They were petrified. They had him
on
TV,
but because he's Mike Tyson,
they couldn't wait to press the stop button. It's like they want to show a caged animal just to let him go. But Tyson's reformed himself and changed himself, and now, like I said, he's reflecting his life and his fixed thing. Now he's a crossover star completely.
No, but he's a crossover star. You say crossover star, but it's a crossover star. A, not making anywhere near. Obviously, he's not boxing near the money. And B, I don't know about you guys. I don't even tune in for that Mike Tyson that I'm seeing now. I prefer the kind of maniac. I don't tune in for the guy that almost seems like to slur his words a bit. I don't tune in for that. That's not Mike Tyson. The Mike Tyson I know had a few gold teeth, no tattoo on the head, and was crazy. And so basically, I want to eat your children. I'll show you, white boy, what you're gonna do. All that crap. That was Mike Tyson, and that's the Mike Tyson. That's the real Mike Tyson. This one they've got now that's mellowed down. Nah.
Okay, I don't want to go back to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, a couple of years ago, he done Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
That was like a major crossover appeal. I think that was after the De La Hoya fight and everything. So he has he really crossed over again since that time?
I don't think he needs to or cares.
No, I don't think he needs to or care. But
I don't think he actually wants to. There's some boxers. I think people forget this. Floyd Mayweather doesn't even have a sponsor. I genuinely don't think he. Don't tell me that sponsors don't come knocking at his door. Of course they do. I don't think this guy actually cares about all this stuff.
I know he hits a lot of the talk shows. The talk shows in America.
Yeah.
But those are late night talk shows. I mean, like before. I mean, George Foreman, Holyfield, they were like on multiple shows all the time. They were doing so much different things. I mean, I don't see one. Pacquiao is the only industry crossover star I have right now. He's on shows singing songs and.
No, you say that, but you got even David Haye. He's a crossover star. We see what he does. I mean, he got reported for saying bad things as well.
David Haye's crossed over this year with Celebrity Big Brother. I mean, Jungle.
Boxers do cross over. I mean, Frank Bruno's always crossed over for years ago.
Yeah, you get him. But Frank Bruno again, he crossed over in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one.
I don't know if boxers,
and it takes time.
I don't know if boxers necessarily. Not just boxers, but sports people. You'd be surprised how many sports people don't really do that crossover appeal as much as you think.
If you look at someone like Julio Chavez, in Mexico in the 80s and 90s, and now he's like a god. Yeah, he could do anything, anywhere, anyhow. Yeah. I don't see one UK fighter or one US fighter that has that type of power.
No, but it's different. In those third world countries, and I don't want to class Mexico as a third world country, but it really is. It's a third world country. It's so easy to be that kind of powerful because they're so poor. They look at you as God. I mean, we said it with Pacquiao and Filipino. Any kind of third world country that has a star or a king of that country, you're going to be God in that country. You're going to be God. It's not going to happen in America because as much as America, all they look at is gladiators in a ring trying to kill each other. It's not a crossover. Boxing's not a crossover sport. It's just one of those sports. I mean, it's not a sport. The only crossover sport that become crossover is when every sports person plays it. And what I mean sports like golf, where every sports person plays golf. Like Tiger Woods is a crossover style wrestling. But I don't think boxing's got that appeal to anyone anymore.
Pacquiao singing. I mean, that's not my TV, but he does it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Ricky Hatton's a god in Manchester. Ricky Hatton's a god over here. It's just one of those things. I mean, Joe Calzaki's been in Dancing with the Stars as well over here. Dancing nice. Didn't he leave his wife for it? That's another subject.
See, yeah.
Another subject. But guys, honestly, what do you think? Tell us what you think. We want to get your opinions in as well. If promoting fights gone too far, is boxing in a state of decline that it needs to do the 24/7s and the all access? Can you imagine Tyson on a 24/7? How good that would have been. Tyson Holyfield 24/7 all access. That would have been crazy.
Tyson on 24/7 would have been 18 and they'd been shot at midnight.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. And it still would have
got more views than Mayweather as well. It would have got more views than the fights itself. But has it gone too far? Do they need to keep sending these 24/7s to make us tune in, or all access to make us tune in? Is that a show of boxing's decline that they need to show us these 24/7 shows for us to tune in? Quick question, actually. Is that boxing's decline? Do they need to, or are they trying to get the casual person now?
I think in general these shows are helping promote boxing, but I think it's not getting the numbers it got before, and that's without 150 channels. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, I think boxing was getting better domestic numbers overall. It's not a fact, in my opinion, that it's getting now with all the help. I don't think the help is necessary.
Okay, it's a good question then. I want to ask Ryan before we leave this then. Okay, so there's no Twitter, there's no Facebook, there's 24-hour TV now. Sorry, there is Twitter, there is Facebook, there's 24-hour TV now. There's so many other social medias. I mean, you can literally email boxing or get back to you. They're all over YouTube now. What's gone wrong then? None of this was in the 80s and 90s. How comes boxing... They've got all this now. I mean, literally, you can win 7 fights and become famous. How comes boxing then steadily, slowly but surely, the numbers in the stadiums have decreased, the pay-per-view numbers have decreased? Why is that?
Okay, first of all, I think it's a sign of the times. I think economically, people are struggling, things are not going good, so everything's in a decline in general. Not just boxing, every sport, everything that sells and needs money from the public is going to lose out. So that's the things in general. But I think alone, the fighters now are not believable. The fighters are either not fan friendly in a sense, whereas you can't feel for them, you can't relate to them. You have a small demographic that will relate to one person, but he's not the everyday guy. I mean, you look at the 80s, everyone could understand a Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, a Ray Leonard.
You almost felt it when they lost. You felt that you lost.
Yeah, you felt it.
You felt it. When Tyson first lost to Buster Douglas, I'm sure I was in tears.
No, I think the world stopped. The world stopped.
Generally,
no one could ever believe Tyson lost.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you look even if you look in the 90s. I mean, people actually followed boxers. Ricky Hatton's a good example. Bring thousands of people,
crazy,
thousands of miles to go fight. People actually fought for the fighters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ben Eubank, Manchester, Old Trafford, 52,000.
Okay, so people seem to. I see a lot of people that say they're boxing fans and they follow one fighter.
Yeah.
They don't feel for the sport. They don't feel for the fighters. And
do you think that's what's happening now?
I think I said as much as people have more resources to contact people, the things people are coming out with is just not believable and it's not sellable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Ryan. This is Ade. This is who we are. There's nothing else going to change. You go on Twitter, you go on your email, you are the same person. You see one person today, you see another person tomorrow with these certain fighters.
Yeah. Alright guys, honestly, that's it. Leave your comments below. Tell us what you think. Honestly, our personality is not real in boxing. Other likes of Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather, is it made up? Is it staged? Is it a promotion? Is it a management team behind them telling them exactly what to do? But guys, get back to us. Leave your comments below or email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk.
Okay guys, take care.